welcome to episode 68, maybe 69 of the What Shara Made podcast. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer, and a big hello if this is the very first episode that you're joining me. I've got a couple of whips and a couple of FOs to show you, and a couple of design progress shots to show you as well, and a few things to talk about, and a prize winner to announce as well. So I'm going to dive straight into it. I hope you've all been well. I keep looking over here because I've got a big pile of things to show you. I'm going to dive straight in, and I think I'll start with, look, I might as well start with the FO that I'm wearing because you're probably all wondering about it. I hadn't cast this on the last time we spoke. I may have spoken about it though in the last episode because the pattern may have just been released at the time that I was filming the last episode maybe. But it is the Wool and Honey sweater by Andrea Mowry, and the yarn is, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it, and I think we discussed this last episode, Ulis by De Rivera Natura. I'm gonna put it down there because you know I probably completely massacred that pronunciation. The pattern is amazing, as you can see. This gorgeous honeycomb yoke. You can see there, and it's a nice sort of boxy design, so I get a bit of a visual there. And it was a real delight to knit. I absolutely loved it. It was the first time I had done a tubular cast on. You probably can't really see it there. I was a little bit worried about that because so many times I've heard people saying how difficult a tubular cast on is and so tricky, people really struggle with them, and I thought, I don't know, and there is an alternative in the pattern. She does give you an alternative if you don't want to do the tubular cast on, which is really good. But I thought, you know what, I'll try it, I'll give it a go first, but if it doesn't work, I'll just try the alternative. But I gave it a go, and in the pattern she provides a link to a tutorial, her own video tutorial. Andrea Mowry provides a link. And her tutorial is excellent, and it was really easy to do. And then I thought, why do people struggle with this? And I thought, oh, that's strange, because it was really easy to do. I got it on the first go, and I thought that's interesting that people struggle so much with that. And it gives a beautiful result. It's excellent. And I can see why people love using it because it's just so gorgeous. And I kept going with it and did the yoke, and it was all beautiful. But a little while later, just coincidentally, a few days later, a friend asked me to help her with a pattern, and to begin with, the pattern has a tubular cast on, and I thought, well, that's really handy because I've just learned how to do a tubular cast on myself. Let's go for it. And when I read her pattern, the description of the tubular cast on in that pattern was completely different to the tubular cast on I had just learned, and the result was, like the finished result of the tubular cast on was identical, but to get to that finished result was completely insane. And the description of how to reach that final result was bonkers. There was all these extra unnecessary steps in it. It was just completely mind-boggling, the way that pattern described how to do the tubular cast on. And that's when I thought, that is why people are constantly going on about how complicated and difficult tubular cast-ons are, and why they avoid them and don't like doing them, and how they take ages to learn and things like that, is because they're trying to do them that way. It was completely insane, and I said, let's ignore that description of the tubular cast on because that's just completely unnecessary. It's It's just so bonkers. And when I looked on Ravelry regarding that pattern, every single project had notes saying that they could not follow the tubular cast on instructions in that pattern, or that they eventually figured it out, but it took them hours or days of struggling to do that tubular cast on, which is so unnecessary. And it really was so frustrating, considering there's such a simple, gorgeous, easy, beautiful way of doing it that's so lovely and literally comes up with an identical end result. So I'm going to put a link to the Andrea Mowry tubular cast on tutorial in my Ravelry group, because it was so beautiful, and I'm so glad that that is the way I first attempted to do a tubular cast on, and I never even bothered or accidentally tried to do it the other way, which I think may possibly be a traditional way or an old-fashioned way, or I'm not even really sure, but it's completely unnecessary. This, what the way Andrea Mowry does it is 2 thumbs up, excellent, gorgeous. So I will provide a link to that, because that was the first thing I did and it was amazing. So after that little tangent, back to the pattern. So the yoke, it has a little bit of short row shaping at the back, which I can't really show you because it's at the back of my head. So that was really good. Beautiful, provides a little bit of a rise at the back, so you naturally have a dip at the front, so you're not strangled. And then this pattern is actually, well, it sort of looks a little bit complicated, I guess. It's actually really intuitive, and you can see exactly what should be happening and what's going to happen. It's not scary at all. It flows really naturally as you're doing it. And it actually grew really quickly. It wasn't arduous or anything like that. And I was loving it so much. I was really excited to be doing it. So I just wanted to get to the next group and the next group and the next group. So it grew really quickly. And before I knew it, I was splitting for the armholes. And by the time you're splitting for the armholes, you actually don't have a lot of body to do, because the armholes, it doesn't look like it so much here, but the armholes are actually quite low down on the body, and by the time you've finished for the armholes, closing for the armholes, splitting for the armholes, there's barely any knitting to do for the body. So it was really good. Then the sleeves don't take very long and you're done. So it was a really enjoyable, intuitive, quick knit, and the result is beautiful. I love it so much. I love the colour, I love the yarn, I love the finished product, and I've barely gone a day without wearing it since I finished it. I've had so many lovely comments from friends and strangers alike when I've been wearing it. It's just gorgeous, so I'm really happy with it. And you may recognise the yarn. It used to be my Trembling sweater, but I did the cast on and I just sat that jumper next to me and knit this jumper. I didn't even bother unravelling it and winding it into balls. I just knit it straight from the jumper, which was great. And now I don't have that jumper anymore that was bothering me and I wasn't happy with, and I have this beautiful jumper and I didn't waste any yarn. This jumper didn't take anywhere near as much yarn as that jumper, so I actually still have some of that jumper left. I thought I'd show you. This is what I have left of that jumper. So I still have the entire yoke left. I didn't even have to worry about unravelling any of the colour work because it finished just in time, like with a row or two short of the colour work beginning. So that's what I have left of my Trembling sweater. Maybe I could make it into a little shrug or something. But yeah, that's what I have left of my Trembling sweater. But much happier with this than I was with that, so very happy. And I'm even very strongly considering making another one of these. My only comment with this yarn is that it has a very, very strong sheepy fragrance to it. When I was soaking it, after I'd finished making it, giving it a little bath, I walked into the laundry and I thought, what is that smell? And I actually thought that I may have actually stepped in dog poo on my way into the laundry or something. I checked my shoes and I'm like, no, but what is that putrid smell? And then I thought, oh my god, maybe it's my sweater. And I gave it a sniff and I was like, yep, it's the sweater and it's really pungent. And then someone else walked into the laundry after I'd just left and they said, did you just fart in the laundry? I'm like, no, it's my sweater. And they're like, oh, I hope it doesn't smell like that when it dries. And I'm like, fingers crossed, me too. Thankfully it doesn't. Once it dried, you couldn't really smell that extraordinarily strong sheepy smell. But if I get a bit hot while I'm wearing this jumper, I can smell that sheepy smell starting to emanate a little. So I hope I never ever get caught in the rain while I'm wearing this jumper, because it's going to be trouble. It's really sheepy. Like, it's all I can guess is that the wool was from male sheep, because male sheep have a much stronger smell. The wool from male sheep has a much stronger smell than wool from ewes. So that's my only guess there. I've never worked with wool that's had such a pungent fragrance. So that's probably my only thing with this yarn. It wouldn't stop me from using this yarn again because I love it so much. I really, really enjoyed using it twice. I would happily use it again, but yeah, it does have a pretty barnyardy bouquet. But that's fine. It's very natural, I guess. My other comment would be, actually, I probably should mention this, that if you are going to make this sweater, I would suggest using a yarn that is a bit of a woolly yarn and not something that's highly processed, like, for example, like a superwash sock yarn or something, because these, I don't know if I can show you, these are sitting on top, and I imagine that if you were using something that's highly processed, like a superwash sock yarn, for example, they wouldn't sit as well. And I don't know how I can describe it. I think part of the wooliness helps these sort of stick to the base of the jumper, like stick to the background of the jumper, if that makes sense. And when I've had a look around at other people's versions of this jumper and they have used superwash sock yarn, the floats don't seem to sit as well. They seem to sort of be bunched up and sitting above the background, and it's just the nature of that type of yarn. Doesn't seem to be working quite as well, so that would be my suggestion. But if you wanted to use that kind of yarn, definitely do a swatch of the pattern section and see how it goes and see how you like it. Block it and see how you like it, because I wouldn't recommend it, but if you did a swatch and blocked it, you might find that the look is totally fine. But I would suggest that using something woolier that's a bit stickier would be beneficial in this. With floats, something that has floats on the outside would work much better. So that would be my only other comment. Now, my next thing, I'll show you a little whip that I've got. This is a nice quick whip to show you. this is, sorry about that zip noise, hope that wasn't too loud. This is, oh good, it's come off my needles, that's great. This is a half object whip because it's a partial pair of socks. You can see there, it's gorgeous self-striping yarn. These are for me, and I've just knit straight without changing anything, just done a heel flap and gusset with a regular old square toe. Haven't changed anything. It looks a bit squished because it's been scrunched up in my little bagoo here. Self-strapping, and I've started my second one there, and I tried to cast on at the exact same point in the stripe sequence as well, so hopefully they're going to be reasonably similar, maybe, fingers crossed. And this yarn is from Heather Made, and you can find her on Etsy, and her yarns are gorgeous. I highly recommend them, they're always beautiful. I've used many of them. And this is the sock that I started at Soulcraft, at the Soulcraft Festival, which I was talking about a lot in the last episode, and I'll talk about that a bit more later on. So they're coming along nicely, and these have been my travel project and knit night project and things like that for the last few weeks, and they're coming along nicely. I'm really enjoying working on those. Hopefully I'll get them finished before Bendigo so I can wear them there as well. Keep my toes warm. And I might show you another FO that I showed you that was almost an FO in the last episode. And it is my jacket that was just about finished in the last episode. And some of you would have seen this in real life already, and you would have seen it on Instagram if you follow me there too. So it's well and truly finished. Fits like a dream. It is well, I wouldn't say dream. It fits well. It is a tiny bit big, but that means I can wear it over sweaters and stuff like that. It's better being a tiny bit big than a tiny bit small, so I'm totally fine with that. It fits nicely, I can wear it. It's super warm, it's quite heavy, but that's fine. Like, obviously that's the nature of these kinds of jackets. It's not meant to be lightweight or anything like that. It's fully lined all the way around. You can see the pockets, nice and big. You can fit heaps of stuff in these pockets, by the way. And they're good for just hanging your hands in as well, which is great. I like to hang around with my hands in my pockets. Everything there. Everything's lined around the collar. Everything there. The sleeves went on beautifully, thank goodness. I was really worried about that. It's a bit wrinkled because I have been wearing it a lot. So yeah, really happy about that. Really happy with that too. So that is my jacket. Really happy with that. And I did get it finished in time. I wore it to Soulcraft, thank goodness. It was all done. I've been wearing it a lot and really enjoying it. So that's been really great. And I've got another FO here to show you that I also finished in time to wear to Soulcraft. And that is this sweater. It's a bit crumpled because it's been scrunched up sitting on my dresser in my room because I've been wearing it a lot. So I haven't even bothered hanging it up and putting it away. I've just been chucking it on my dresser so I can wear it in between when I'm not wearing this. So this one's a bit heavier, as in thicker, than this one. So when the weather's not quite as warm, so when the weather's a bit warmer, sorry, I've been wearing this because it's slightly more lightweight. Pretty much the same on the front and the back. There you go. So that got finished. Maybe that was finished in the last episode. Anyway, it's all done now. And that was beautiful. I got to wear that to Soulcraft as well, and I was really happy about that. And I've got a lot of wear out of that since. It's really nice to wear and lovely fit. And this is the True Friend sweater by Vera Valimaki. Sorry for messing up your name, just in Vera. And that's in white gum wool, hand dyed by Hannah from Rosehip Island. And I've got another finished object, but it's about to have part of itself unravelled and reknit. So it is a finished object, but it's going to get redone a little bit. So that is my polka dot sweater. So now, I think the last time I showed you it only had one sleeve. Now it's got two, but I'm going to redo the sleeves because I don't like them. They're too big, they're too long, and they're too wide. They're too floppy. They need to be more fitted, and they need to be shorter. It doesn't suit the style of the sweater properly, so they need to be redone. But that's all part of the process of designing, is that sometimes you think one element's going to work and it just doesn't once you've done it, so that part needs to be redone, but that's no big deal. So now it's got two sleeves, and it's exactly the same on the front and the back. So that's an FO. And I might show you some of the things that I got at Soulcraft as well, and talk a little bit about Soulcraft because it was absolutely amazing. It was held at the Meat Market in North Melbourne. That was the venue, which is a beautiful venue. Some of you may have been there for other events, and you'll know that it's a historical building that used to indeed be a meat market in the olden days in Melbourne, and still has a lot of the original features like the bluestone cobbled flooring, and a lot of the original wooden arches inside and things like that. It's really beautiful. And it was decked out beautifully inside, and it was so well done. The entire festival was so beautifully organised and executed. I just don't have one complaint. It was so well put together, thought out. Everything was wonderful and just had a really good vibe about it. I hate to use that word, but that is correct. The marketplace was amazing, and I was very restrained. I just wanted one of everything that was there, of course, but I was really restrained, and it was a really beautifully curated marketplace, and it was beautiful. The whole thing was amazing. All the talks and lectures and demonstrations that I went to were amazing. I really learned so much, and I felt very connected, and I felt very I felt like I made some amazing connections as well, and I talked to some really amazing people there that I knew purely online but then got to meet in real life, and that was really beautiful, and made some genuine friendships, I feel like, and we've stayed in contact now, and that was really lovely, of course, as well. So that was good. And a little bonus as well for that weekend was that one of my friends who I hadn't seen for years just happened to be in Melbourne on that same weekend, and that afternoon, on the Friday afternoon, because I stayed in the city that weekend, on the Friday afternoon I just thought, do you know what, I'm going to text this friend and just see what he's up to. And I texted him and he said, do you know what, I'm in Melbourne this weekend, are you? And I'm like, I am actually, and we ended up going out for dinner and having some drinks on the Friday night as well because we both just happened to be in the city that weekend. And so I got to catch up with an old friend randomly, and go to Soulcraft all weekend as well. So it was really lovely, and the weather was beautiful too. So it was all lovely. So I was really happy about that, and I really hope they run it again next year because they did such a beautiful job this year. But let me show you all the beautiful things I got. And I ended up buying all of the things that I got from the one single store, but over several different visits. Like I just kept being drawn back to the same place. So yeah, obviously you know me well. What is that I keep seeing? What is that in the corner of the screen? I'll probably still see it, but anyway. So I got this ridiculous, amazing yarn from Nana Bar. You can see it there. It's called Butterscotch. Obviously, you can tell why. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. I can't even talk about it because it's so gorgeous. You might notice a theme. Anyway, then I got this. Oh, hang on a sec. Bit of a theme running here. This is also called Butterscotch. And these are two different bases. So this is the white gum wool, and this is the twist singles in Butterscotch as well. So bit of a theme. And I got this. So it's a gradient. And this is also the twist singles, and this is called, I haven't got my glasses on, and I think it says Shack, but it might not, so don't quote me on that. And these two I intend to use together in a brioche project, so this will be like a static colour and this one will change obviously as they move through the project, but that's a pattern idea that's still in my brain. So, and then I got these two to be used together, and these are both from Nana Bar as well, and they're both white gum wool. And this one I hand wound myself, so that's why it looks weird. Don't think that this is how your Nana Bar yarn comes. This is my fault. So, oh my god, how this, oh, so beautiful. I can't remember what this was called, but it had a really beautiful name. Something gorgeous. And this one is called Sakura. Oh my god, it's so pretty. And this is also destined to be a brioche project where they'll be the front and back of the brioche project. So really happy. So everything came from Nana Bar that I bought, which I'm not sad about. I'm not sad about that. I'm very happy. And I suspect that if Nana Bar is at Bendigo, she'll probably see me again. Also not sad about that. So that's what I got at Soulcraft, and I'm really happy about that. But I'll probably start those projects after Bendigo because I've got other projects that I want to finish before Bendigo. One of the things I want to finish before Bendigo, I haven't started yet, and Bendigo is, well, I'll be leaving for Bendigo in less than 2 weeks. I'm going a little bit before the festival starts. I'll be up there a couple of days ahead of time visiting friends and things like that. So I'm crazy, but I think I'm going to need a sweater before then. What am I thinking? Like, clearly I'm deranged. An adult sweater in fingering weight. Yeah, right. So that's what I think I'm doing. Whether that actually happens, well, anyway, if you see me and I've had a mental breakdown at Bendigo, that's why. But let's have a look here. If that happens, the sweater that is, not the yeah, anyway, if the splitter happens, this is the yarn that will be used. Let's all enjoy my hilarious yarn winding, shall we? Look at that. All with a little yarn winding nipple on top, so that's lovely, isn't it? Which ball will I use? I'll use these two. Should we have a look at the bums here? Look like, yeah, anyway. My poor yarn winding. I can't get a... Oh, that's better. That's a better indication of the colours, sort of. That looks a bit dark. Anyway, this one's Aubergine by Lovebird Lane, and this one is... It was a special fundraising skein by Circastonic Handmade, but I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it had a name or if it was just a fundraising skein. So they are the two colours I'm going to use, and it's going to be another True French sweater, maybe. I'm going to start it, and if I finish it, good for me. If I don't, oh well. But I'm going to give it a crack. I'm going to try. So that's what I'm going to do. I think they're going to look pretty good together. All from Stash. I shopped my Stash yesterday and went... it took me ages to put colours together, but eventually I decided on some colours, and these are the ones that are going to work. So I think that's what I'll do. Fingers crossed. So that's one thing I want to do before Bendigo. The other thing I want to do, actually I want to finish it before next weekend because I've got a wedding to go to and I want to wear this to the wedding, is this shawl. And this is another whip, but it's also a design whip. So not only am I trying to get this crazy deadline, I'm designing at the same time, so that always slows things down a bit. But you know, if you're going to get crazy, you may as well go full crazy, right? So let us have a look here. What's going on? It's a triangle shawl, but I can't show you the full triangle because it's all bunched up on an unnecessarily small cable. I should probably get a bigger cable, but let's pretend that you can see that this is going in a triangle. So, well, there's the top of the triangle, right? You get the idea, but this is what the side looks like. The bottom edge so far. Wait, let me show you the front, it's much more interesting. So, I've got those there. That's the next row, that's the next panel. Once it's blocked, it'll look even better, I hope. Getting a heavy shadow on that, so it's not... Oh yeah, that's a bit better. There, so that's that panel. Then I've got another panel of black, but a different pattern to that. I've got a little drawing here, and I've got a swatch so I can show you. And then another panel of this, and then the bind off. So it's well on the way to being finished. That is if I don't run out of one of my colours, which I'm on the verge of doing. So it may require some unpicking and a revamp of the design, which I don't want to do because obviously that's time consuming. And yeah, I don't know how this is going to go, but my vision for this when it's finished, in my mind, it's really spectacular. Whether I can finish it or not, that's a completely different story. So, yeah, having this finished for the wedding would be amazing. And it's going to be quite a large shawl. You can't really tell from here, but it's going to be big. It's a 4 skein shawl. Well, it uses 4 skeins, 2 skeins of the main colour, 1 skein of that colour, and 1 skein of that, but it doesn't use a full skein of that, nowhere near a full skein, and probably nowhere near a full skein of that colour either, but definitely 2 full skeins of the main colour. So it's a largish, maybe more like a 3 skein in total shawl. So I'm really happy with the way it's coming together. Let me show you the swatch so you know what's coming next. So this is what's coming next. So this is my whole swatch, different colours, but this is the pattern that is coming next. But it'll be all the way, not just W's, it'll be chevrons all the way. So maybe I'll show you like that. Now they're just like M's. So the next colour, the next pattern along will be these chevrons all the way along. So all the way along will be these chevrons, but instead of in this magenta, it'll be in black. And then another row of the plus signs, and then it'll be cast off, probably in black, maybe, depending how much yarn I've got left. And then there'll be tassels on the points, and I'll be really pleased. And I'll show you, I even got out my coloured pencils and did a little sketch. I don't know how well this sketch will turn up on the screen. Oh yeah, you can see. So this was my visual aid when I was designing it. You can see it's changed a little because in my actual piece I've got 3 panels of, I've got 3 lines of this rather than just the 2, because I realised after I'd just done the 2 that the actual wingspan of the piece wasn't going to be very long. My next door neighbour is outside banging stuff now, so that's great. So it wasn't going to be very long if I only had the 2 panels in there, so I decided to go a little bit bigger and add an extra panel, and that's when I decided I needed a second skein of the main colour. And now I'm wondering if I'm even going to get the whole thing done with just 2 skeins of the main colour, and it's very impractical to need 3 skeins of one single colour in a shawl. So it's going to be, it needs to be revamped if it needs a 3rd skein of the main colour, because it's actually really hard to get your hands on 3 skeins of a single colour of hand dyed yarn, which is what most people want to use in their shawls. So I don't want to have to make a shawl that requires 3 skeins of one colour. And you would only be dipping into a really small part of that 3rd skein, so that would not be very economical either. So I'll be revamping the design if it needs that 3rd skein, so that it still only needs 2 skeins, but you get the idea. I've actually got a second one going here as well, so this one's using slightly different colours with a bit of orange on there, and this is my one that I've got going that I'm holding off continuing because I'm waiting for a second skein of this to arrive in the mail, and if I need to revamp the design, this is where the revamp will start, after the 3rd row of these little dots. So I'm just holding off going any further on that because I may need to cut out the 3rd panel after here, so stop doing another one of these garter stitch panels after the 3rd row of dots and then continue on with the rest of the pattern. So it's there's ways to vary it so that you can economise on yarn, and the reason it's taking so much yarn is because the entire thing is in garter stitch, which is all part of the design. I didn't want to, I wanted that nice squishiness of the garter stitch, of course, but I wanted that flow through of everything being in the garter stitch, so the mosaic knitting and the plain panels all being in the same stitch. If I'd done the plain areas in stocking stitch, it would economise on yarn much more, because garter stitch takes up a lot more yarn per square inch than stocking stitch, so it does use a bit more yarn using that stitch, but that's the stitch and look that I wanted, so that's what we're going with. and I think it looks so much better anyway, so that's what's happening. So I'm really, really happy with that and how that's working out. It does need a blocking, but that's all good. So that's all coming along. I can't wait till it's finished because I can't wait to wear it. Now the only other thing to come from that, after that, sorry, is that I've got the June winner of the year-long stash busting craft along in my Ravelry group to announce, and I did a random number generator earlier in the week and I selected a winner. Earlier in the day, not earlier in the week. I did it this morning, and the winner was post 177. I think it was 177. I've still got it on me here on my random number generator. Let's take a squeeze. 177, and it was M's Little Nest, with a beautiful carping cardigan that is so beautiful. Oh my god, it's the prettiest colour. I love that colour. So, Emma, if you want to get in contact with me on Ravelry, congratulations. Let me know which pattern, any pattern at all on Ravelry that you would like, and I will happily send that to you because you're our June winner for the year-long stash busting craft along that's going on in my Ravelry group, and everyone's welcome to join in that. So pop into the Ravelry group and have a look at that thread and you'll see all the requirements. It's pretty easy to join in. Thank you for joining in with that, Emma, and everyone else who's joined in as well. There's a lot of posts in there and there's a lot of really amazing things going on in that thread. So take a look, and congratulations, Emma, M's Little Nest. And the next thing I wanted to talk about, there was one more thing, glad I didn't forget, is the Bendigo Sheep and Wool Festival, or the Australian Sheep and Wool Festival, that's taking place in Bendigo in a couple of weeks' time, in July, on the 20th. Let me check my calendar. I just want to get his dates right. Where is my calendar? Here we go. So on the 20th, 21st and 22nd of July is the Australian Sheep and Wool Show in Bendigo, more commonly known as the Bendigo Sheep and Wool Show, and lots of people go. I go every year. I love it. It's a really fun weekend, and there is a meetup happening. So for a little while there, we were worried no meetups were going to take place, and we didn't know where we were going to have one. It can be really tricky to try and find a spot that's easy for everyone to get to, and that, as particularly at the show, there's not really a practical meeting place anywhere that you know is definitely going to be accessible every year, because things change every year, and one year something might be great, but the next year they'll be using that spot for something else and you won't be able to access it, and it's really hard to organise a meeting place at the show itself. And last year we had a meeting in a particular spot, and the people that were running that spot were not very impressed that people decided to meet there, and it didn't turn out to be very pleasant, so we won't be meeting there again, and it was unnecessary, so it wasn't very nice. But we've organised not me, I wasn't involved in it. Sorry, I was taking credit there unnecessarily, but lovely Nina from the Give Me a Crown podcast has thoughtfully organised a meetup at the Shella Hotel, and I'll put the address of that down here so that you can find it, which is in Bendigo. It's not far from the showgrounds actually, and in the sort of in the foyer area, but as you enter into the hotel on the ground floor, there's a bar, cafe, restaurant type area, and Nina has organised to have a table set aside for everyone, for all the knitters, crocheters, spinners, weavers, everyone, all the crafty people, to go and meet there on Friday evening from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and I'm sure you can stay longer if you want to. They're not going to kick you out. And they're very accommodating and very nice at the Charlotte Hotel. We had a meet up there last year and they were really, really good to us. So that was really great. And Nina has organised that. The details are in my Ravelry group and in Nina's Ravelry group, which is really great. So thank you, Nina, for doing that. I really appreciate that. And the meetup's open to everyone. You don't have to be special or it's all, everyone's welcome. Everyone's welcome. You can bring your partners. It's all fine. Everyone's welcome. And don't be shy. You'll know me. You'll probably know other people's faces as well. Don't be scared. You can bring your knitting along. You can bring your crochet along. Bring your treasures along that you've got that day. Have a bit of a show and tell. And yeah, meet some people that you haven't met before. Maybe meet some people that you know only online, and you can meet them in real life. It's yeah, it'll be really nice. So it'll be time to just relax, and maybe it'll be a time to relax after you've already been at the show. Maybe it'll be a bit of time to relax before you go to the show the next day. So you can give each other some tips or get some tips from people who've already been. Maybe it's your first time at the show and you want to get some tips from some seasoned experts. I don't know. So yeah, so the Shell Hotel in the foyer area, bar area, it's easy to find where we'll be. It's not scary or complicated, and you can always ask at the bar, because as soon as you walk in you see the bar. It's not difficult to find, and they'll be able to direct you to where to go. And everyone's welcome. So 5 to 7 p.m, but probably later. And you can come along on the Friday night. So Friday the 20th, we'll all be there. So I will see you then, and I doubt I'll get to make another podcast before the show, but if you've got any questions or you want to ask me anything, pop into the Ravelry group. I've got a thread in there about the Bendigo Sheep and Wool Show, so pop in there and you can ask me in there. And I'll look forward to seeing everyone at the show. If you're going to be there, definitely say hello. I'm very friendly. I'm not scary to approach. I'm always happy for a chat, as you can tell. I never shut up. And I'll see you all again soon. Bye.